Good morning. Welcome to the end of January. Today we're doing a full houseplant collection tour. My houseplants have been on fire with growth in winter. Sadly, that is partly because they've been getting so much attention because my garden supervisor, an old golden retriever that I had for 10 years, passed away, and now they get all of my attention. Been bittersweet, but they are thriving. So let me show you what's going on with my indoor plant collection. Starting with the plant I have right here. This is an alocasia pink dragon. I hope I'm saying that right. I've had this for, I'm gonna say like almost 4 years, maybe it's been 3 years. I cannot remember. This was actually a gift from one of the nursing students I preceptored. And I struggled with it for a long time. I knew they were tricky plants, but it is finally doing really well. At one point, this was almost composted because it was doing so poorly. It has 3 beautiful, lush leaves, and believe it or not, if we look very carefully at the bottom, there is a 4th leaf forming, and that is so exciting. I absolutely love the leaves on this plant. They are just so glossy and beautiful and just so tropical-esque. I love the feeling of this. I love the vibe of this plant. It makes me feel like I'm in a very tropical location when I'm in the Great White North. Next, we're going to take a look at this plant right beside me. This plant is on fire with growth. It has never done better in its whole life. For the first, I'm gonna say I've had this plant for 4 to 5 years. The first part of its life, like pretty much until this year, 2024, it hardly grew at all. Had a hard time keeping it alive, but I also neglected it, and look at this. It has put on so much fresh growth right here. This is all new growth within the last month, and it's continuing to put on new growth. This is so exciting. And it also has, I believe this may be a baby plant. I think this is called a corn plant if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but I believe it's called a corn plant. Reminds me of a palm tree of sorts, but it's definitely not a palm tree. But I'm super excited about this little shoot that's coming from the bottom. So cool. Next, we're taking a quick little look at my pothos. I did a little rearranging of this plant, and this is the first time I've kind of had it growing like it could grow along the wall, and I did actually have it going this way, but it didn't seem super happy like that. It's lost a lot of leaves on the one branch that I put to hang on the wall, so I'm not really sure why. If you have any insight into why my pothos is dropping leaves because it's hung up now, let me know in the comments. It used to just trail and it seemed happier, but now that I have it trying to climb, it's not quite as happy, and I'm not sure why. Quick little look at a little memento for my supervisor. He passed away, and I put a few little pictures of his paw prints and him in these little frames. Moving over in this corner, this is one of the most lush corners of my houseplant collection. This is my Boston fern, and it is just going crazy with growth. The one behind it is also a Boston fern, which was basically a division from this one about over a year ago now. I divided it when this one wasn't doing well. I gave it a makeover, repotted it, and broke it in half, and that's what this one is, the results. It's doing pretty well too at the back there. And my coffee tree is really going for it with growth. This coffee tree has never produced coffee beans, but I don't care because the leaves are so lush, gorgeous, and I love the shine to them, just so beautiful. If it never produces beans, that's fine with me. It is a beautiful ornamental in the house. Moving this way. This here is my rubber tree. I cannot believe how much it has grown. I'm 5'4", and this tree is legit, goes pretty much up to my chest. Like, that is crazy. I'll link my last houseplant tour in the cards or the description. You can see how much it's grown since then. I am beyond shocked at how well this rubber tree has been performing. It is a houseplant superstar right here. Just look at those gorgeous leaves and look how big. This is insane. This is my hand. And the leaves are so much bigger than my hand. I cannot believe this. It is just on fire with growth. This is by far the easiest houseplant I've ever looked after in my houseplant journey. It's never had a pest. It's never had a disease. It's never had a problem of any kind. If you're a houseplant beginner, I highly recommend rubber trees. They are so easy to look after and really don't require much water either. Coming into this corner here, this is another rubber tree. This is a variegated version. And look at the colors. I don't know if the camera is picking it up. It doesn't look like it. There's a lot of pinky peach colored tones in these leaves. The fresh growth, so beautiful. My variegated rubber tree is not quite as tall as the burgundy rubber tree, but it is still so beautiful. Highly recommend rubber trees of any variety. Definitely good houseplants if you're new to houseplants. And this particular rubber tree has a little character that lives in its pot. You could call this a fairy. You could call it a little gnome. Well, it's not a gnome. You could call this a guardian of my rubber tree. Definitely looks out for this tree and make sure it is living its best life in the corner here. Moving on to my cactus collection right here. They are doing so well, these cacti. This is my snowy cactus and it is on fire with growth. I cannot believe how tall it is getting. It is probably a foot tall at its peak right now, which is crazy. This was so small when I got it about 4 years ago. I got it on Facebook Marketplace and it is on fire with growth. It loves living on a fireplace mantle. And beside the snow cactus, we have this grafted cacti. Don't know the variety. It's putting on a little bit of growth. Not quite as substantial as some of the other plants, but it's doing fine on the fireplace. Behind, this is my dragon fruit cacti. These guys are looking so-so, but they are climbing up this little trellis system I have, some bamboo trellising from the dollar store with a spider web and some butterflies. It is partway up the spider web already, but very spindly. If you have any tips on getting my dragon fruit cactus that is quite spindly a little more plump, whether it's fertilizer or water or lighting, whatever the tip might be, leave them in the comments because I'd really love for the dragon fruit cacti to be a little more plump. Do I need to prune it, cut off the bits that are spindly? I'm not really sure, but leave your advice in the comments and I'll definitely take it to heart. Moving right along, these two cacti here are my prickly pear cacti, and if you're new here, you probably haven't heard this story. I'm going to tell it one more time. It's probably getting old for some of my original viewers, but this dragon fruit survived decapitation. I'll tell it real quick. On the way home when I bought it about 4 to 5 years ago, it broke off. This was one cactus. It broke right here. I was devastated. Asked what to do on a Facebook houseplant group. They told me root it in cacti soil, don't water it for 1 month. I did, and this is what happened. I got 2 cactuses that are thriving years later, and putting on so much growth. I cannot believe how tall this is. This is like maybe a foot, maybe even a 1.5 feet tall. No, it's about a foot, I want to say. The snow cactus and the prickly pear, I think, are about the same height. So happy with these cacti. And what I love about them is that you can touch them. They're very tactile and you will not get hurt. And one day, if I'm lucky, this might actually produce fruits. Prickly pears do apparently produce fruits. I hope that happens for me. I don't know if it will, but that would be amazing if it did. Moving this way, this is my very favorite cactus. This is a grafted coral cactus. As far as I know, that is what it is called. And the base is so smooth. You can run your fingers down it, but don't touch the corners. They're very sharp. But this here is just pure beauty. So gorgeous. I know why they call it a coral cactus. I can just picture a coral reef like this in the ocean. So beautiful and really growing well. Look at all the new growth coming here on the top. It is doing so well on the fireplace. I hope I have this cactus for the rest of my life, truly, because it is just so beautiful. Moving on, we have this cactus. I don't know what it's called. It's kind of unique, or maybe not, but what I think is unique about it is you can run your finger down it and it kind of changes the color. Let me do it over here. The camera's capturing it. You can almost make like a fingerprint on the cactus. Some people might like that, some might not. I think it's cool. It's grown quite a bit. It's growing in strange directions now. But overall, I'm very happy with this cactus. Very healthy and loves the warm heat here. And moving on, this is my cacti propagation container. I have some very strange looking cactuses here. They're growing in all kinds of weird directions. Like, check this out. This here is all one cacti and it is looking rather strange, but that's okay. Quite a few strange cactuses here, and I almost think you could put these in a fairy garden. Like, they look like characters in themselves. This looks like it could be a mouse or a rabbit. This here, well, I'm not sure what these look like, but I do think they could be characters in a fairy garden story. I might have to do that soon. This one is growing like a tower. I'm very happy with these little propagations. And here we have another cactus. I don't know the name of this one, but it loves to lean over. Like, this is what's constantly happening with it. I move it around. It's just a very lanky kind of cactus. Honestly, not my favorite, but it's fine to stay here for a while. Here's one of my many snake plant pots. Doing okay. Here are the rest of my snake plants. Doing pretty well. This is the tallest one right here. This snake plant is just past my lips. I think in the last video it went right to my lips, and now it's kind of like just past my top lip in growth. Slowed down a little bit, but overall is doing very well. You can see there is new growth coming from the base of all of my snake plants. And I'm trying a little experiment here. I don't know if this is working, but I'm attempting to propagate my pothos. I've never attempted it. I don't really need another pothos plant. I'm just really curious to know if I can do it right beside my snake plant. And so far, I don't know. It might still be alive. It's been in this pot for almost a month now. So time will tell if it actually roots in and grows, but just another little planty experiment. Moving up to the window here, this is my Christmas cactus, and this guy, this plant almost died. I talked about it in my last video. It was basically on life support and it is doing well now. It is thriving, putting on new growth. Right here, brand new growth. Super happy that it survived, as well as from the top, more growth coming there. Just needed more water and TLC, a little pruning, and it's happy now. Moving on to these little shells. I think I forgot to show my air plants in my previous houseplant tours. These are my little air plants, and I've actually had these for, I'm gonna say, about 1.5 years now. Kind of midway through my YouTube journey so far. I got these for fairy gardens. Still haven't put them in a fairy garden, but they're doing fine. I water them about once a month, just soak the roots in some tap water, and they seem happy to live in the seashells here. What I love about air plants is that you don't need soil, and I might get into them a little more heavily in the future. Another one here. Doing fine. These are the orchid plants. These are the orchid pots. Unfortunately, they did not make it. Still have to take my soil or bark outside, but they were not survivors. One more snake plant in the corner here, doing just fine. Definitely doesn't get as much light here, but doesn't seem to mind too much. The plant that you see right here, this is a Dracaena. This is the oldest houseplant in my collection, quite literally. This was one of my first houseplants, and I got it for free on Facebook Marketplace. This was a plant from an elderly lady who wanted to rehome it. She said she'd had it for 30 years and it was in desperate need of repotting. She told me to repot it immediately, and then it should be a little happier, and that is what I did. When I got it about 5 to 6 years ago, I repotted it immediately, knew nothing about soil or houseplant soil or taking care of houseplants, and it is thriving. I really just guessed on the type of soil blend to use, and it seemed to work out, so that is awesome. I've pruned it a few times to control the size, and I hope that I have it forever. Another little look at it. It's constantly putting on growth at the top and some more growth coming from the bottom. I might let these ones go and get bigger to make it a little more bushy from the bottom, but I definitely do manage the top for size. Coming into the hallway here, this is one of my cylindrical snake plants. This is one of baby plants from my original one. I gave a couple of my divisions away, and this is one that I still have. I will show you the mother plant shortly, but this one is thriving in its little hallway location. Virtually no light here, and it is doing just fine. Into the bathroom now. This is one of my variegated snake plants with some beautiful yellow foliage. And it is doing awesome in here. The best it has ever done. It's also been watered way more often than I used to water it. And it gets a little bit of light from the skylight above, but there's no actual window in this bathroom. So it is doing just fine here, living its best life. Moving into another bathroom. This is my mother plant of the cylindrical snake plants. This is the one that I took, let's see, it was 3 divisions from last spring, summer, and it is still thriving, been divided, maybe even doing better than it was before. Definitely don't water it much, the least of all my plants, and it does really well in this location. One more thing to show you, a little bit of a bonus. If you've watched my houseplant videos before, but maybe not some of my other videos, just gives you a little taste of other things I do in the plant world. In another room now, this is my hydroponic gardening system. I am also a food gardener and an ornamental gardener outside, and this is my first time ever trying hydroponic gardening this winter. This is a cucumber plant growing right here. We've got basil plants at the back, a tomato plant bell pepper plants. We've got 3 of those, some more basil here, a few fairy garden figurines for a little bit of fun. Food prices keep soaring and it's time to take control of your grocery bills. If you'd like to see more of my hydroponic gardening journey, more houseplants, more food garden stuff, hit the subscribe button and we will see you soon in another video. I hope your 2024 is off to an awesome start and we will see you soon. Have a lovely day, evening, or night, wherever you are. Bye for now.